Okay, boys and girls. So, I do not hate Django. I just hate Django's documentation from Django. But anyways, been working on learning Django since last Wednesday. It's now Tuesday, so I've spent 5 days, about 2 hours a day, so we're approximately at the 10-hour mark. And I now have my crappy little notes app. And today what I did was I created a user account system for the notes app. And so why I hate the documentation for Django is the documentation is just miserable, man. I've been doing tech since 1996, and I swear today I just felt like a complete moron because this isn't the nice information that Django gives you. Django gives you this disaster. So anyways, basically one of the big things with Django is a Python framework for creating web applications. And one of the big deals with it is that it has a built-in user account management system for being able to create accounts and being able to log in and then be able to do stuff based off of, logging in and that type of thing. The issue is that the documentation that Django gives you for this whole auth module or whatever, oh, it is so painful. So thankfully, I found learnanddjangohere.com, and they just kind of spelled out the information for me. URLs provided by auth. They actually give you the URLs that are automatically provided for you by this auth module. They explain to you how it works. And so now I have my own little user account system for my notes app here, which is kind of cool. So basically, what this means is that we go up here. If we take a look, we can see I'm currently logged in as Thomas, and I have a little log out a link, and then I can also add a note, right? So I can go here. I can add a note. This is a note for the video. And we'll do this, open. This should be a select box, but I haven't got into it. I hit submit, and what you can see is I just created a new note. You see the note for the note, and now you see an owner, right? So Thomas is the owner of this, and so the owner is now in the database. So since I have user account creation, and now I can track owners, this is like with this kind of thing now, I can basically like assign this, like if this is a task, I could then assign this to a particular user account, and then when they log in, they can see everything that's assigned to them. If somebody creates a note, so let's say this is like just a note-taking app, so one person creates a note, and the next person creates a note, then since you have that user account thing, every single person that's saying something, that can be signified. If you're creating a discussion board or a communication board, now that you have the account system, all right, then you can have that kind of thing. So this is pretty cool. I can go up here, I can log out, and you'll notice now, ooh, look at this, I have security. Security. When you log out, there's no longer that add note thing. So you have to be logged in to add a note. I can click and log in. I can do Tim. I can plug in Tim's password. And now we log in. We can see that we are now Tim. I can add a note. I can say, yep, because that's how I roll. Yep, and that is now Tim, right? I can log out again. We can register as a user. So we want to register as a user. Let's see, we can say Sue will be the user. Password is a crappy password. And then we click sign up. That user already exists. Patty, let's say. So that's probably why you don't want like people's email addresses or whatever, but that's its own deal. We'll deal with that at a different time. So okay, we're gonna create this account. Patty is now logged in. Again, we don't want to be sexist here, so we can say it's a girl. And then we do yep, and then we do yep. And now we hit submit. And look at that, Patty. Patty is able to create notes too. So there we go. We now have a very basic little user account system. So there's a table. There's a table that currently now has the user information for the users on the system. Plus, we have a table for the notes. And so now we're able to log in based off of the users table. And then as we're interacting with the Notes app, we're able to grab information from that users table. Again, we can plug in things such as the user's name here. Or again, if I want to do a filter, I could filter based off of only the notes of the person that's currently logged in. That's relatively easy to do. So that's what we got now. So yeah, that's about how far you can get in 5 days of Django. If you know a bit of code, if you know a bit of technology at this point. And again, this is about, like I say, this to get to this point is literally 10 hours worth of my work. And that's one of the important things I want you to understand about, again, going out there and getting things like tech education is, when you first start about learning tech, it seems like it's insurmountable. It will take forever. But again, if you put in 1 hour a day, you put in 2 hours a day, that's 365 hours in a year, right? My original MCSE was 80 hours of classroom. Back in the day, CCNA was 40 hours, A plus was 40 hours, right? So literally, you could on your own study your A plus, your MCSE, and your CCNA in a single year simply by doing 1 hour of practice and studying and all that per day. And then one thing builds on another, and you can see how quickly it can move. And then again, like I say, is once you get the basic concepts down, once I figured out URLs, right? Like my big problem with frickin' Django was just understanding how all this works, right? Now I have a mess of this. But once you understand URLs, and once you understand views, this is all a disaster. I've been working on one project. And once you understand models, and basically how to create models. So again, I created this user account. That's a new field. It's like once you start understanding these core concepts, it gets easier and easier and easier and faster to move forward and start building some pretty cool stuff. So at this point, like when I'm looking at it now, I know this looks ugly. The next things I need to do is static files. So if you like your CSS, if you have static files, there's some mess you have to deal with that. So I'm gonna have to deal with static files now. And then beyond that, there's a more complicated user account system. So with actually verifying users. So the person creates an account, then an email gets sent to have them verify. That's another part of the process that I need to learn. But really, we're getting to the point where it's pretty close to being solid, of being able to build a decent little app out of Django. And it's only been, like I say, 5 days, about 10 hours. By the end of the month, or by the end of next week, probably. Hopefully, I'll be able to build something slightly cool. I don't know if it'd be cool, but what I'm thinking about, again, I've been talking about that, the chore app. So my wife and I have chores to do because even when you're adults, you still have to vacuum the floor. And so again, with this, I can create a chore app. So she has an account and I have an account. We have the chores that have to be done. We have the times for when the chores have to be done. We can get an alert if the chore hasn't been done in a certain amount of time, that type of thing. I think I should be able to build that by the end of next week. Would be my thought. So anyways, what do you think? What do you think about Django? And again, for the people out there are a lot of people out there like Eli, why are you learning Django and not Laravel? And again, don't PHP people, don't be as snotty. Don't be as snotty as the Node folks. I'm learning Django because it's a new technology to learn. The other thing with Django, why I'm interested, is because it's Python, right? So Python. So one of the big things in the tech world, I believe in standardization. I've always believed in standardization. Back when I had my computer repair company, we had checklists and we used all the same parts and we standardized. So one thing with Python, and so Django, versus PHP is Python has like all the APIs, right? So if we're using Raspberry Pis and we want to connect to the GPIO pins, these pins, input output pins, that uses a library called GPIO0, and that is in Python. This is a Pico, so one of my projects, I don't know when I get to it, this is actually a microcontroller. So this is Raspberry Pi's version of a microcontroller. Only costs $5, has a full Wi-Fi stack and a whole bunch of other cool stuff. But you can actually use, I think it's called MicroPython on this? You can use MicroPython on this. And so one of my things is, like with PHP, I like PHP. No issue with PHP. Used PHP for a long time. PHP is great for building dynamic websites, and that's about it. You can use it for some system administration, but really it's for building dynamic websites. With Python, I can use it to build my Raspberry Pi gadgets. I can use it in order to create my little Pi Pico gadgets. I can use it in order to build websites. Again, there's also a whole crap ton of APIs for everything from SendGrid to Twilio to AWS services and all that kind of thing. And so one of the reasons I'm really looking at the whole Django deal is simply, especially for me teaching folks, I would rather teach everybody on one technology to learn a lot of concepts, right? So if I can teach you Python, and with Python, you can do system administration. And with Python, you can create Raspberry Pi vehicles. And with Python, you can create little IoT devices. And with Python, you can create websites. And with Python, you can actually create desktop applications. There's something called tkinter, however you say that. You can actually use Python to create desktop applications. So Python allows you to create desktop applications, to create web applications, to create infrastructure solutions, to connect to APIs, to create vehicles, to create IoT, do all this stuff with this one programming language. And so that's why I've been playing with Django, and day by day, I have to say I get happier with it. Day by day, I get more frustrated with Django's documentation and happier with Django itself. So anyways, that's what's going on here. So what are your thoughts? Are you a Django developer? Do you like Django? Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Again, do remember in the YouTube world, they do not want healthy interactions. They don't want healthy interactions. Unhealthy interactions is an interaction all the same. Anyways, leave an interaction, leave a comment, subscribe if you want to subscribe. We're getting close to 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Get us to 1,000 subscribers. And with that, I'll see you folks later. Hopefully tomorrow. I think tomorrow my goal is going to be to actually start with a completely fresh app, and then probably start doing the chores. I'm going to sketch out this whole chores thing for my wife and I, and try to build at least the first prototype of that. I think that will be the goal for tomorrow.